Hi there, and welcome to today's Careful Conversation discussion series. This program is made possible by a collaboration effort between AARP Colorado and Care Partners Resource. My name is Lori Ramos Lemasters, and I'm founder of Care Partners Resource. I'm a former caregiver, and I currently work as a caregiving expert, professional speaker, and certified Journal to the Self instructor. I built Care Partners Resource to help care partners overcome the daily challenges of caring for a loved one by offering practical solutions to the difficult decisions that caregivers struggle with every day. As a part of this mission, AARP and I have partnered to bring to you 7 10-minute careful conversations. Each will offer valuable information that we hope will help you in your caregiving journey. Today's discussion is with Kathleen Hume. Hello.
Hi.
Kathleen
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Kathleen is founder of Home Safety and Accessibility Solutions. So again, thank you so much for being here. One of the things that I noticed about is that there's a tagline out there that says not just ramps and grab bars. So if home assessments are not just ramps and grab bars, which I think most people think they are, what would you say a home modification is, or a home assessment is, to make your house age friendly?
So in today's world, our homes were not built for us to live as long as we are living. So almost every home is going to need some sort of modification. The assessment identifies barriers and safety issues, and that's what we look at. It's inside, it's outside, it's lighting, it's doorways.
So basically, from the minute you walk up to the door or drive up to my house, you would notice something like, I've got a step to get up onto the porch, and then a step to get into the house, right? Things like that?
Correct. And those are what keep people who have a walker or a wheelchair from being able to access their home.
Oh, so if I have an aging loved one, would you recommend having a home assessment?
Absolutely. It brings peace of mind to the caregiver and the family member. It improves quality of life for the client, and it just overall brings kind of a sense of comfort and safety and accessibility to your home, allowing you to remain there for as long as you want.
So then what is involved in a home assessment? Because I think of the big things, but I know when you and I talked before, you mentioned some really things that I never would have considered, like lighting.
Correct. And most people, if you're in a walker, if you're using a walker or you're in a wheelchair, you don't consider things like being able to reach outlets. You don't consider lighting and shadows and glare that can increase fall risk. So our loved ones, as we age, we have decreased sensation, decreased balance, our hearing and vision are less. We also may have some issues with self-care, fine motor coordination, managing buttons and zippers. So we look at all of those things. And people with progressive diseases like Parkinson's, MS, COPD, Alzheimer's, all of those people as well could use home modifications.
So as a caregiver, it would benefit me to maybe have an assessment made on my loved one's home to help them stay at home longer and not have to worry about maybe looking at a long-term facility or an assisted living facility?
Correct. And as a caregiver, it also decreases your risk of injury by having home modifications done to allow you to safely assist your loved one in the home.
That's true. Because I know that when I was caring for my mom, she was a stroke survivor.
Hmm.
And so she was a full transfer. And I once, when I was transferring her into the shower, we actually both took a fall and I sprained my ankle. And luckily, she wasn't as injured as bad as I was, but I broke some bones in my elbow and
Oh my gosh.
sprained an ankle. So I can see where that would have been really helpful.
And it happens. It happens a lot, more than you would
Right.
think.
So, if larger, well, let me ask you this first. If modifications are required in a home, what resources would you say that a person should look for?
The number one thing that I would tell people is if you are looking to modify or remodel your home to allow your loved one to stay at home versus going to assisted living or long-term care, make sure that it is a skilled professional who has been trained specifically in home modifications for the aging.
Is there a certification specifically for that? Like, is there
There
something
is
I
what
would
they
look
call
for?
CAPS, uh, certified aging in place specialist, and then CLIP, certified living in place professional. There's also Age Safe America that certifies people to be senior home safety advisors. I have the CLIP certification and the Age Safe America certification. The other place that you would want to look is for skilled occupational therapists who specify in home modifications.
So the benefit of that would be to make sure that maybe if your loved one has certain deficiencies now, but they've been identified maybe that they have Parkinson's or something, you would want to make sure that the modifications cover long-term effects.
Correct. And I've seen it many times where people have gone in and they've remodeled an entire room, maybe even an entire home, or they've made modifications and they have to go in and redo it because they've used a contractor or a person that did the home safety assessment that were not trained in what to look for, and how to make those modifications to last.
Right. So they might do a modification based on what you're thinking even that you need, but if you hire someone who's certified as in those fields, they can say, but have you thought about
Correct.
the future or
Correct.
whatever? So they might
Yes.
help you save some money.
Correct. Yes. And it does seem as though making these modifications in your home may be costly up front, but honestly, when you make these modifications, you're going to pay that in less than 6 months in assisted living or long-term care.
Right. And this is a longer term solution too.
Right. We've
The
never had a
challenge.
population that has lived this long that want to age in place. And so we want them to be able to stay at home as long as possible and use their resources.
So are there any financial resources that are available out there, or how would someone find out about those?
If you are a veteran, the Veterans Administration may have some funding. They have some people with long-term care policies have home modification benefits, reverse mortgages, city and local governments. So there are a lot of resources out there
Okay.
available.
And I think in one of our interviews, I interviewed someone from the Area Agency on Aging, and she mentioned potentially some resources. So maybe that would be a good place to start as well.
Correct.
So if you could offer our caregivers one takeaway from today's discussion, what would that be?
The one thing that I would advise people to do is to be proactive. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you are in crisis mode looking for someone to make these modifications and they make them and they're truly not what you need, and you've spent all this money and it's not going to serve you long term.
Right. So if your parents are aging, start talking to them about maybe doing an assessment and pre-planning some of these things.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kathleen.
Thank you.
So in closing, again, I want to thank you for participating in today's discussion. Your tips and insights have really been very helpful. And I also want to thank you, the caregiver, for tuning in to today's careful conversation. I hope that today's discussion has proven beneficial in helping you to understand how even simple modifications can help make it easier caring for your loved one. You can bookmark this link to refer to in the future. Each time you watch, you will hear something different based upon where you are or where your loved one is in this caregiving journey. I also want to thank you, AARP, for helping make these careful conversations available. I encourage you to watch the entire series, and please add your comments to let us know your thoughts. We hope you find each session to be helpful and informative. Take good care, and remember, you don't have to be alone in your caregiving journey.